Hi guys, welcome to Charity's Bubble. Actually, we came from that one and we came to this one. So we are continuing with the story, and I'm gonna talk about what? My education.
Hi, Charity. What's up?
Hi. Oh my god.
You mute, my dear.
I don't know what I was thinking about.
Welcome to Charity Bubbles. In this evening, we are requesting you to continue subscribing to Charity Bubbles so that you continue knowing more about us and you continue knowing more about charities. So, Charity, I'm going to interview the second part so that your viewers can know you more. So, I'm going to ask you a little about that. We are going to jump a little bit so that we come. How did you become a nurse? Or let us start. How did you end up in America? So that you know how up to there from there.
How we ended up in America, we came with a green card. But I didn't think that I would come to the US. But when we got married, I would always talk to Francis about coming to the US. For some reason, I don't know why. Because when I had gone to high school, I went with these girls, and most of them had come to the US. I would count like several had come to the US. I know there was one in Texas. There's another one who passed away a few years ago. And there was another one. I could count most of my friends, especially we had a cube when we were in high school. And it was only the six of us. It was me, it was Jane, it was Mary, it was another Mary, it was Lucy, it was Rachel, and it was the other lady who passed away. We used to call her Ostrich, may her soul rest in peace. So we had dreams
to come to America.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We love watching movies. We love watching movies. Oh my God. Because I do remember we had a small TV in high school.
In your TV course?
No, in the dining room.
Oh,
and it would be like movie time. So we never used to go and watch movies. But I was always disadvantaged because they came from a more family. So them, they had TVs at home. Us, we didn't. Remember, I told you in the previous video that we were so poor. So when we opened the school, they would talk about the programs that they had watched. They would talk about there was another one called The Lady of the Rose. They would talk about there were so many programs that were coming on, and I didn't have anything to contribute because we didn't have all that they had, and I always felt like at some point they would look down at me, but then I really didn't care, you know. But I've come to, I think as you grow up, because I've grown up being looked down upon, like I just don't like people who look down on me, like it really bothers me. So I do remember telling you so much about coming to the US.
So you are a dreamer?
Yes, you always called me a dreamer. Yeah. But I think that's where that thing came from. And at the same time, if you have listened to my previous video, I talked about when I finished high school, I wanted to become a nurse. But I had settled when we were in Nairobi because I was training people how to do hair, and I was doing it very, very well. Actually, sometimes my students reach out to me and they tell me that they're still doing hair, and I feel so good that I did train them on that part. So when we won the green card, this is how we applied for the green card. I had a friend who had cyber, and she was doing that business of applying for people the green card. And she came and told me, it's the season for the green card. Can we do it for you? But eventually, I thought that she wanted just money because at that point you had to pay. We didn't know so much about green card. There weren't even channels that were talking about the green card. So it was a little bit off. So she went and filled out the green card. She asked for little photos. I remember telling Francis about it, and he wasn't even interested. He was like he just took it just by the way. But a dream, sometimes when you talk about something, God tends to fulfill it. When you speak, words are very, very, very powerful. That's how I believe. And there was a moment that I would talk to my husband like all the time about coming to the US. I'd be like, I know one time we are going to go to the US, but I didn't know how because we didn't have relatives. I knew there were friends who lived here, but that was just about it. So when we won our green card, it was really kind of strange because my husband had went to Naivasha. Where had you gone to?
Somewhere.
Yeah, you were taking a client. And then Kathy came, she had the 2 papers that we had filled out. And then there was this guy who was teasing. He was like, I've never had anybody go to the US with a green card. Like, he was just teasing and he was just sitting there. But when we checked, we had won the green card. Actually, it was very surprising. So I called my husband. I told him that we have won the green card, and that's how our process started. And we did. It's when Frances says that it's good to work hard and it's good to have something. What I know is that if we hadn't worked so hard, if we didn't have anything for ourselves, I don't think we would have had. We would have been able to come to the US because it cost us a lot of money. It cost us even our business. We had to sell it. It cost us some cars that we had to sell so that we could be able to raise the money to process the visas and to be able to come here. And we came. We didn't leave our children behind. All of us came. So it took a lot of hard work, a lot of saving. And that is why it's important, to know that whatever that you're doing, it's good to be hiding something. Don't eat it all. Save something, especially if you have a dream of going outside your country, because we require the money. We require, and sometimes people are not going to be able to support you. And sometimes it's not that they don't want to. Sometimes it's because they don't have, or they have other priorities that are not you. So you have to be able to do that.
I have a question. I usually hear people, they usually say that when you are coming to America, the American government support.
No, they don't.
Those people who own the green card. Is it true?
They don't even care. How are they going to support you? You pay for your visa, right? 300. I don't know how much it is right now, but we remember we paid for like $30,000. No, 30,000 Kenya shillings. That's what we paid. So it might be little in dollars here because right now the shilling is very whatever. The dollar is like it's so much high compared to the shilling. But right now, even the people who are paying for the visa, it's a lot. You have to pay for your medical. You have to pay for even the transportation because when you're going to the embassy, you have those very early appointments that you have to be there by 6 a.m. in the morning. So you won't go by public transportation. You have to rent a taxi if you don't have a car. Unfortunately, as we had our own car, so we were able to take ourselves. And of course, you have to pay for your airfare, your ticket. And when you come here, the only thing that you get a social, you have your green card, and that's it. You have to find your own life. Like, there is no help that you get. Especially even when you're a permanent resident, you won't even get food stamps if you want them. You won't even get insurance if you have it. And even if you get it, it's going to be a different kind. It's not like the one that citizens get. So you find that you have to work hard. It's not that there is nothing for free here in the US. Actually, you work 100 times more harder than the way you work in Africa because here you work day and night. So when we came here, I started researching, and then I found out that you could go to school and you could be helped by the government. They would give you grants or loans or whatever, and you could be able to go to school. And then I saw that opportunity. So I told Frances, I am going to go to school and I am going to become a nurse. But my journey of becoming a nurse wasn't easy. And I always say that had it not been for 100% support from my husband, I don't think that I would have made it to become a nurse.
Why?
Because when you come here, you have to work.
There is grant for free, food for free, everything is free.
No. Look at our family setting. We came here with 2 children. So I started going to school in 2015. That's when I started my first prerequisite. And I did well. I wouldn't say that I didn't do bad. But I had... did I have a baby at that time? No. I didn't, because we had only in 2016. But in that process, when I was still doing my prerequisites, I had a baby. So when I had a baby, I didn't go direct that I'm done with my prerequisite that I can go direct to go to school. No, I had to stay and take care of the baby until the baby is a little bit older, so that I could go back to school. And when I was taking care of the baby, Francis went to work. He didn't complain. He just went to work, and he would help wherever he would help. But then I ended up doing more prerequisites that I was supposed to do because I had to stay home and I didn't want to forget about going to school. But before you went to nursing school, you have to do a TIS test. And that one was challenging. It was very challenging on the English area. Because when you come here in the US, the English that you speak there is the Britain, but here is American English. It's very different. Yes, they speak English, it's normal English, but some things that they mention them, the names that they give them are different.
And the history.
Yeah, the history is different. For example, if you come from Kenya, that thing that we used to clean the floor with, we call it a duster. Here they call it a mop. Hi, the duster, the one that they are calling the one that we are calling the duster, is something that we use to wipe the whatever the walls, the cobwebs. That's a duster. Something like what can you say? A teacup. The cup for the tea. They call it a mug. So you see the differences. So you might be they might be asking you about something that you know, but you don't know it. If you come to weights, the weights, they say pounds. They do it in pounds. So you can see a hash sign. As we say a hash, that one is a whatever. It's a pound sign. If it's water, we measure our water in liters or in milliliters. Here they say ounces. And when it comes to ounces, instead of them writing ounces, they write OZ. You are like, what is OZ? You see what I mean? So you find that it was very difficult for me to get to the English part. So I ended up doing my T-test 3 times. The first time I did, and I wasn't failing so much. I was only failing the English part because I was doing very well in math. I was doing very well in science. But when it came to that English part, believe me, I wasn't doing well. But then eventually I passed. I passed the English, and I was admitted in a school to do my LPN program. So I went to school, and I didn't work that year. And I went to this accelerated program, and I do remember I got so much support from Francis. And so you get a loan and you get a grant. So that's how I survived, because that school was expensive. We were paying $5,000 every term, every semester, and we had to buy books. So that one was very, very, very expensive. But I know it's because they had changed and it had combined with Wichita State. So it was really expensive. So I went, I finished my schooling, but it was challenging. Nursing school is not easy. It's so hard because you have to study a lot of theory. Our pass mark was 75% at that point. And if you didn't get 75%, then you failed. Because I do remember our first semester, there was this class called Foundations of Nursing. If you didn't get 75% on Foundations of Nursing, you were forced to repeat a whole semester, all classes. But if you passed the Foundation of Nursing, you went to the second semester, you did MedSurg, you did OB, I don't remember, you did pharmacology, and you did mental health. So that one, if you failed the second semester, you were only allowed to do, they would let you at least do the only class that you failed. So I had to work very, 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 very hard. I had to study. Like, I dedicated my whole life to studying.
Were you working?
No, I wasn't working. I don't think that I would have made it if I was working. No, I don't think I would have made it. I don't think.
Who was caring for your kids?
You were.
Oh.
At that point. And when I was home and Francis had to go to work, I had to watch them and I had to study. So my priorities were like, oh my gosh, I can tell you, like, it was tough. And then after that, when you graduate, you do not get your certificate you don't get your license to practice nursing after you graduate. No, you have to sit down again and study again so that you can go and sit down for the board exam so that they give you license to practice. That's what I did. And then after that, I got a job. I got a job at a nursing home. And I do remember when I was starting off, it was the COVID time. So the COVID time, I still went to work and I worked and I worked. But then I started seeing that as an LPN, there were things that I was able to do. But an RN, when they came in, they were able to do more. So I started thinking, if I started seeing these Kenyan nurses and they are wherever, and then I was like, if they did it, why can't I do it? And another thing, there's another part that I omitted. When we came here, I went to work at a certain hospital. And when I went to work there, I met our fellow Kenyans, It was a very high population of Kenyans. And they were, oh my gosh, when being a CNA, they were just treating you like rubbish. You never even got assistance from them because, like, when you are working on the floor, you have to, when you're a CNA like this, it's hard work, guys. So they never used to help with anything. So these nurses, they would come, they would do their work, they would do their meds, and then they would go and sit down. There used to be a place that they used to go and sit down there. And if you went to call one of them to come and help, they weren't helping. Even my fellow CNAs who had come from Kenya, they never helped. I do remember this guy that I used to work with, and he was so bad. At one time, I even had to go and report him to the supervisor because you get your backup, but that backup doesn't help you. So I ended up being friends with another white lady, and we would work together. Even if she was at the far end of the hall, and I was at the front of the hall, we would always help one another because some of the people, you had to do them when you were two people. And that was my drive. Like that one really put the nail on the wall, and I knew that I had to become an RN because I was like, what is it that they have done that they would look down, they wouldn't even help, and I was very new in the US at that time, and I really felt bad about that, and that pushed me. So I did apply to become an RN, still when I was an LPN, and remember, like I told you, that I had done so many classes, and that really helped because my GPA was still very high. But I do remember I wasn't picked in the first semester, and I really felt bad that I wasn't picked. But they wrote me a letter and they told me I wasn't picked because I hadn't passed. I wasn't picked because there were so many people who had applied for the program. So I asked for them to put me on a waiting list. And they did put me on a waiting list. So fortunately, the other semester when it came in, I had to go to school. And what did that mean? That meant that Francis had to go back to square one and start working by himself. By that time, we had our fourth child, right? So I had this baby, and I had school, and that one was a little bit far, and that one was the hardest. Like getting my RN was very, very, very hard for me. I wasn't working, but at the same time, I don't know, even with age, and even with the responsibilities, and even with looking at my husband, he's doing everything, and he doesn't even have even time to breathe. Like it was getting to me. So at one point, I know that I became depressed. Like I know that I did become depressed.
What do you mean by became depressed? Become crazy?
No, I just became depressed. Like, and then I started having this anxiety, like really bad anxiety, especially when the tests were coming. Like I would become so anxious, and my mind would black out, and oh my gosh, I can't even describe that feeling that I used to have.
Was Francis giving you a lot of pressure? Or?
No. It was so much pressure from school, and so much pressure for not wanting to fail, because what I hate in life, I hate to fail. Like that really takes me to another level of, I have children. I'm pushing my children to do the best in school. And if I fail, what am I going to tell my children? That was really, 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 really.
Why do you hate to fail?
Because I think my growing up, I know that if my dad had stuck to his jobs and he was responsible enough, would have had a really different life. And that through the poverty that I grew up in, so for me, failure is a no. Like I can't fail. Even the work that I do, even when I go to work today, I do it to my best because I don't like failing.
Now, because Charity, you are RN, and there are so many people who are young who want to become an RN. What can you tell them, or what can you encourage them?
I think, let me just finish here a little bit. So I did my test. And then I graduated, and then I had to sit down and do my board exam so that I could practice. And I went and passed, which was good. Now, remember, I used to work in a nursing home. There was another PRN job that I did quit. So, but I never wanted to make it my full-time job because I wanted to go to the hospital. Remember my dream when I was little, when I was seeing those nurses who were working in the hospital. I wanted that dream to come true. And at the same time, I knew as an RN, the only place that I could get good experience was in a hospital. So I went and applied in a hospital, and that's where I'm working, and I'm really liking it because I learn a lot. I get different kind of patients and all that. And I thank God because I like what I am doing right now. And I when I go to work, I feel like it's a I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing or what I was meant to do. So I like that. And so you have asked me a question about the young, especially the young people who are coming in the US.
Before you go there, what is the difference between working in a hospital and working in a nursing home or working in other health facilities?
When you work in a nursing home or you work in home health, you are working with more stable patients.
Oh.
They're stable, they don't have so many problems. But when you work in the hospital, they have more acute problems, like they're more sicker. They need help at that point. But in the nursing home, they are residents, they live there. So even if they have problems, they do not really need like ASAP. And even if when they need that emergency help, you have to send them to the hospital. So where I'm working right now is those people who are very sick. Those different kinds of people that they really need, you know what I mean? Even the people in the nursing home, they still need your care, but it's not like these ones in the hospital. These ones in the hospital, like they are being seen by the doctors all the time. Like you're talking to the doctor you're getting all these orders. You're looking, you're more alert with if any condition of the patient is changing because you have to know. You have different kinds. You deal with so many things at the same time, as opposed to being in a nursing home. A nursing home, they can even give you like 20 patients, which I hate. Or they give you like 50 patients. There was a job that I worked, and I went this time, and I had a hall that had 20 patients that I had to give meds. And then there was another back hall that I had like another 20 patients, and it was a locked unit. And they didn't give me a med, and they wanted me to work. I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't. So, but it's not bad working there because they give you a more larger number because these patients are more stable and you have more help. But when you're working in the hospital, you'll get 4 patients and the maximum you can get is 5. But you have to do meds, you have to do all your assessments, you have to make sure that you're taking care of that person one-on-one. You understand what I mean? And you get to learn a lot with these people because your focus is on them. And in the hospital, you're focusing on what brought them there. Maybe they came there because they are not breathing very well. Maybe they came there because they have pneumonia. You see all that stuff. But at the same time, a person can be in the nursing home. They have a certain diagnosis, but that is where they are living. So when they have a cold or when they have pneumonia, you can call. The doctor can order some labs. They can still order some meds, and maybe the doctor can come to see them weekly, or maybe two times in a week. But when in the hospital, the doctor has to see them every day. You see what I mean? That's the difference. And I think working in the hospital, you get to meet all these types of diagnoses, and you get to know stuff.
You get a lot of experience.
Oh yes, you do. You do get a lot of experience. So that's why I like working in the hospital. Yeah, I do. I still work in a nursing home. Yes, I have nursing home jobs, but my best place to work is in the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
What can you tell the young people who want to come to America, or the old people like me who want to come to America?
What I can say is that, especially if you have a young child and you're living in Africa right now, is that healthcare here in the US, there's a big demand, guys. There's a big demand of healthcare workers. And I do know that there are agencies who bring nurses, international nurses, to come to work in the US. So I wouldn't, if I had like even my nieces, even my, I tell them, go do nursing. Because being a nurse could land you to come and work here in US. You can go to work in Canada because they need healthcare workers. If you want to become a doctor, become a doctor. I can tell you, like, there's a very high population of international doctors who work here in the US. A very high population of them, especially people from India. Is it India? Yeah, there's so many. So if those ones can come, even you can come. So do nursing. It's good. I know there are some people right now who are saying it's only nursing, whatever. There's some people who question, is it only that nursing can be done? It's marketable, guys. It's very, very marketable. Because if you do, let's assume you've done something like computer engineering. And it's good, even to do computer engineering. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's a very good course. But when you come, you will have to go through other steps. You're not just gonna come from Africa and become a computer engineer unless you're sent by a company that is gonna come and, you know, their company, that if they have a branch here, that way you can come and become an engineer here. But there are some processes that you have to go through. But when you are a nurse, the agencies that bring you here, they will guide you on how to do the NCLEX. That is the exam that you do so that you can get your license to practice. And that being a nurse is being a registered nurse, not just a licensed practical nurse or a community nurse. No, a registered nurse. They will help you so that you can get your license exam, and then they come. They have their own trainings so that you can get adapted. And of course, when you're an international person, when you come to work in the floor and everything, you will have a lot of training until you get to the customs and everything, and you will be able to work. So internationally coming, it's easy when you are when you are a healthcare worker. You know what I mean? Instead of doing, I know that some people can say that I'm gonna do physical therapy. No, go do nursing. It's hard. I hear that it's very hard, especially in Kenya. It's very hard to become a registered nurse. But go do it. You know, I know some nurses who have come here through nursing. They haven't even come here through a green card. They've come here through those different agencies. Why? Because simply because they were nurses and they are working here. So that's my advice. Go do nursing. It's good. It's a very, very, very good course. And it's very rewarding because when you take care of a patient and you see that they're doing well, you feel good. Even when you're a nurse in your home, you know that when there's a change of condition in one of your family members, even when you go to the hospital, you understand more better. Like when you are when they are being treated, you understand what's going on with them. So I think nursing is good.
Okay, thank you so much, Charity, for sharing with us what we can do in America.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being the nurse. Thank you for recognizing my effort in your life.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you so much, my dear. Continue being a good wife. Continue being a good nurse. And thank you so much. Continue, guys, subscribing. Charity Bubbles. May you conclude, my dear.
Yes, thank you, guys, and God bless you. We are going to do more videos. Don't forget to ask questions if you have any. Thank you, and God bless you.